SaaStock, if you don't know what it is, it's a community organization. It started in London, and now it's spread all over the world, London to Germany. We've got North America. We're all over Asia. We're now in about 50 cities around the world. And this is the Korea version. So welcome. Some of you are from Korea. Some of you are not from Korea. Many of you are inside Korea, though. And we hope to build this community of SaaS enthusiasts and SaaS founders and investors. Because really, there isn't one. There is no SaaS community yet in Korea. So we're the first trying to build it. This is our 4th event. We did 3 last year. And if you enjoy these events, please sign up as a member on the website that you joined from, and you will know of the next event. All right. We usually have 4 events per year. This is our first event of 2021. Our second one will probably be in June. And we have some great plans. We plan to invite the CEO of Sendbird, for example, which is the most famous SaaS company in Korea. It just became a unicorn about 2 weeks ago. So that's my quick little introduction. I've actually lived in Korea for about 15 years, working with startups and having my own startup. And now here we are with SaaS. So today we're going to be talking about how to build a SaaS startup from the ground up, and also how to scale a SaaS startup if you already are a founder. And also we're going to talk how you can increase your chances of B2B sales using LinkedIn. And I'm actually really excited because we have some really amazing speakers. First of all, we have Juliana, who's going to talk about LinkedIn and how to leverage LinkedIn to get these B2B sales and to just take full advantage of that amazing service. Then we have Mark, who's going to talk about the AWS services they have for SaaS startups. So I don't want to have a really long introduction. I'm just going to go ahead and introduce our first speaker. But let me tell you first, our first speaker will talk for about 40 minutes about LinkedIn, B2B sales. Our second speaker will then talk for about 20 or 30 minutes. Then we're going to have a networking session. I know you might be thinking, oh, that sounds kind of weird or cheesy, but I promise you, it's going to be fun. So if you stay until the end, till about after 7 or 7:15, we will do some networking events, some games, group activities, one-on-one activities, and it's a great way to meet other people. So just trust me and stay on until the end. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our first speaker, and that is Juliana. So I think I've invited her now to the stage. Juliana, yes, I think you're on now.
Hello, can you all see me and hear me? Is it all working?
Great.
Brilliant.
It's working.
I love it because I speak to SaaS and technology companies all day, but it's all technology always fails on us when it comes to that. But yeah, really excited to be here. You've said it before, but I assume is quite straightforward.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Yeah, all you got to do is just click the share screen button. Hopefully you see all those. Do you see that at the bottom?
Perfect. Great. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to remove myself from the screen here in a second. Yeah, and go ahead, take it away.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jonathan. I'm super excited to be here today. This is a SaaStock event, by the way, guys. I've hosted a few, but mainly for EMEA, so European markets. So I'm super excited to share some of my tips for you guys here today. I work with many SaaS companies around the world. So what I'm going to share with you is tips and tricks and my hooks and my hacks to help you really build relationships with companies, your potential buyers, your potential clients and customers from all over the world. And LinkedIn does allow you to do exactly that. So let me share my screen and I'll take you through all of these tips. Hopefully this is working. Hopefully you can all see my screen now. Yeah, hopefully it's working. Let me just go back here. Yeah. Okay, if you can't see, Jonathan, please do let me know. If not, I'm just going to go ahead and present. Brilliant. So this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. favorite topics. What I'm going to share here with you guys today are things that you can apply today, tomorrow, and really start seeing very so I'm really looking forward to speaking to you today, but I'm also looking forward to get on with some of the tips that I'm going to share with you. Okay, in terms of a quick agenda, 40 minutes, but I'm going to keep it really practical, also really engaging, because one of the things I always tell to my clients is engagement to practice what I preach, and also allow you guys to interact when you want and ask any questions throughout the course. With really quickly looking at LinkedIn. Why is this platform booming, and why is this so important right now within the? I'm then going to take you through some of my tips on how to update your profile today to help you increase visibility. I'm going to share 3 of my hooks and hacks. I'm going to explain to you what it is in a second. I'm then going to share with you some tips in content marketing. So many people are actually get visibility and engagement. I don't normally share 10 of my hooks, but it's a Friday morning and it's sunny. I'm in a good mood, so I'm going to share 10 of my hooks and hacks around content with you guys today. And then finally, we're going to look into lead generation. So tools like sales help you find the right clients and help start conversations with customers in order to convert them. And hopefully we'll have time, so please send messages through. So what is the LinkedIn way of selling? Guys, is that in 2020, a lot of things changed on LinkedIn. I was already using LinkedIn way before that, but in 2020, there was a massive spike of people using. And people didn't have the traditional ways to meet new customers and find potential clients. And all their face-to-face meetings. So as we know, the digital world just spiked, and so did LinkedIn. In fact, in April 2020, we saw increased by 2,400% during the first lockdown, especially a lot of countries here in Europe. So there was a massive increase. Some other figures here that are really just going to highlight here is that 43% of marketers say they have sourced at least one customer from LinkedIn in 2020, at least one. So if you know, at least one, you could be prospecting from LinkedIn. And 80% of B2B marketers report that 80% of their social media leads come from LinkedIn. I'm convincing you with a bit of data that LinkedIn is the right platform for prospecting and find the right customers. So remember when you thought that LinkedIn was all about finding jobs? So when I first started on LinkedIn, I thought it was a digital CV. I copied and pasted what I years ago. And LinkedIn is not a place for you to just find new jobs. Of course, there's that as well, but it's a lot about, it's the biggest B2B in the sense that people are going to LinkedIn to interact. We have over 50% of customers, LinkedIn customers, using the LinkedIn app. So, you know, the Instagram, and engaging with content, we see that on LinkedIn now as well. So LinkedIn is a place where buyers and vendors are going to meet and are going to find out information about each other and information about the industry. I have a quick case study that happened as well last April. I had a client that came to me in April and said, Juliana, we need your help. We need to find our main place of how can we now shift that because we can't meet at events anymore. And so I presented them looking at their profile, LinkedIn content, and lead generation. And only in April and May, we connected with over 340 new connections with the right target. So it's not any, of which 47% of those new engaged, with this company. We booked 2 months, guys, and from that we identified 4 emails. We were prospecting large enterprises, so I'm not small little services. These were huge deals. So identifying 4 big, large deals in 2 months for them actually meant that they grew more than they in that particular. It's really exciting what you can achieve on LinkedIn in such a short period of time, and also many more people to meet potential suppliers and to meet with vendors. And guess what? We did all of this with no cold call, sales pitch, no money spent on ads. So everything I'm going to share with you today is not about spending money on ads. Everything we're going to do is organic reach. So I hope you are as excited I am to learn and start using LinkedIn to find new clients. Okay, so a lot of people ask me, what is social selling? And the truth is actually, don't worry, you're still going to sell, you're still going to meet potential clients. Selling, it's actually finding the right people, usually you know you them, and building trusted relationships that will achieve your sales goal. Or in some, social selling is about stuff. Don't worry about your pushy sales pitch. Start conversations and build. That's going to generate you not only a future pipeline. So when this time, worry about where you're going to come from, because you build that pipeline for you. So it's about starting conversation and building relationships. A lot of the big years ago picked up on the fact that LinkedIn is a great potential to meet and find new business. So, but they had your sales force where they have hundreds of people within their organizations. How could they track KPIs on LinkedIn? So LinkedIn picked up on, they created what they call the social selling index. And this is a way to send your KPIs within LinkedIn. According to LinkedIn, if you are investing on your personal, finding the right people, building the right relationship, so putting efforts within those 4 different pillars, KPI, and you can find out what index is. In fact, what I might do, just cool exercise, is on the chat. Hopefully this works. And if you guys think here and find out what your social selling this morning was 80, and let me know in the chat what your social selling score is. And hopefully what you will this webinar today, and once you start applying the tips that I'm going to share with you, you'll see that your social selling score is going to increase. And that might also mean that your potential meeting new customers, new clients will also increase. So have a look, guys. And if you want to put it on the chat, I don't know if I put a link, and let me know what your social selling score is. I'm going to give you what the average normally is, because I know some people might be a little bit shy. The average of SSIs around the world really is between percent. So if you're between the 40 and you're average. If you're above 60, you're doing really well. In fact, when you were tracking, what was that if your KPI was above 60, you're performing well. If your KPI is below 60, you need to be more active on LinkedIn. You need to do more work on LinkedIn. So I'll leave this like, have a look at your SSI, where you fit within this. You're kind of more in the average, or in fact, you're in the above 60 mark. Let me know. And let me know afterwards as well if this will increase for you after you. So this is just a really quick introduction on the platform, but now let's get into the actual practical tips. You know, again, I have, so bear with me. So how sales for LinkedIn? Let's start looking at your personal marketing. Important. I get a lot of companies approaching me saying, Juliana, we're spending so much time on our company LinkedIn page. You know, so we are a SaaS. Hire this marketing manager. I'm writing content and posting it on my company page, and I'm not getting as much. If that's the case, the truth is people are more interested in people than they are in companies or brands. We all know when we human beings and we trust a logo. So business has become personal. It's about investing in you, founder of a SaaS startup, or investing on your employees. Let them spread the word of what your company is doing. Make them look as an expert on LinkedIn. And allow your potential buyers to find you and really understand how you can generate for their business. So a profile. So people want to connect with people and not logo. Yeah. Just my last bit of data here. Brand messages reached 561% further when versus the same message when shared by an official brand channel. So employees reaches from a company website or company LinkedIn page. Okay, so let's look at the way to position yourself as a thought leader by really demonstrating how you add value. You can. So if you're one of those people that your headline is your job title, you should change it to, or if it's just that's what your job title is, your potential buyer director or founder of a company, what they how you have they can think about your headline and think about answer those 3 questions and make. Okay. And of course, the more personal that you can make, the better it will become, because it will just become a little bit more relatable. Let me show you. Also really important to do is use keywords. But obviously use Google Analytics. Find that, or Google Trends, sorry, to find that keywords on your headline. If someone is searching, for instance, solutions for e-commerce, whatever it might be, have those keywords on your headline. But if you do, immediately opening the right type of people to find you. So use the right keywords on your headline and you'll just become more visible to the right people. With Sandy. So Sandy Smith, her headline is, we help accountants and QuickBooks consultants make more, work less, and serve clients better. Using QuickBooks, I know exactly, and I know how she can help me. Straight away, I know whether I want her not to interact with me, add value to me. Or this chap, if I'm pronouncing his name correct, but I actually prefer this headline. He is telling me what he does and how he helps, but he's also telling me that he's a coffee lover and contributor. So there's also a little bit more information, which makes it a little bit more personal. People want to connect with people. They don't want to connect with faces. They want to know who you are. They want to know how you help on a professional level, but who you really are as well on a personal level. That are great ingredients to help people feel that they can approach you and want to interact with you. I'm going to give you a quick example on LinkedIn. If you go on LinkedIn, I'm just going to do a quick search. I'm just going to write down SaaS here. and find some people in your industry. So, let's have a look here. I'm just going to pick an example, and this could be anyone, guys. Could be anyone here. So, okay, let's get Alfie here as an example. I was looking at Alfie's profile earlier. I don't know if Alfie is. He's based in London, so I don't think he is. But so Alfie, he's the head of business development at Binder. I've never heard of Binder before. I'm not sure if you guys have. All I'm getting is that he's business development, so he's probably want to sell me something. Binder, I don't really know what I'm not interested in this profile. How you can help me? Why should I care? Continuing. That potentially who's going to want to sell something to me down the line. A lot of people do this. They put their banner as their company logo. Of course, you want to show your company logo, but think about it. Startup, especially, people don't know who a startup is yet. So you'll do much better if you do put your logo here, for instance, on a banner. You do start telling a story on a banner. I like using quotes. So think a quote where you can start saying, if you're SaaS and e-commerce, you can say something, I believe that e-commerce is the future, or this is so cliche. But do use words to represent how you could help the potential client in your profile. And then with who you help, how you help, and why they should care. Guys, you'll see that more to you. You probably, if you have this as your job title, salespeople trying to pitch you something at the moment, looking at your profile. Change this today and you will attract potential customers. So we looked at a few changes on your profile. In fact, I'm going to go a little bit beyond here. To create your headline, take a picture of your mobile of the screen, or take a print screen. Email me later who you help, how you help, and why they should care, and something personal about you, and I'll put together a headline for you. So do that. Take a print screen of this, and I'll help you. Write that down on an email and get in touch with me. Let's look at content marketing now. Content marketing is one of the key questions that I get all the time on LinkedIn. I have some good news. Remember Facebook in 2012? The Facebook in 2012. If you posted something, say, oh, my post went thousands of likes, and you're not, without spending money on any advert. That's what right now. LinkedIn is very powerful. So you can post something today, and if it's your audience, reach how, because I've done it, without spending any money in any ads. LinkedIn ads is that important to the community. If you know how to write content well, you sometimes, and without spending any money. And Facebook and LinkedIn ads, listen up to some of my ideas here, and you might be able to use organically without spending a lot of money. It's basically understand LinkedIn's etiquette. What do I mean about LinkedIn etiquette? Of course, understanding the algorithms, about the algorithms, but also understand how does the community on content. Let me tell you how. One of the things that a lot of people also ask me is, Juliana, I really want to start creating content on LinkedIn, but can I actually do this? I'm the founder of a SaaS startup. I'm doing 100 things. I don't have time to spend on creating content on LinkedIn. Don't worry, there's an easy way that you can do it. Across my rather than thinking of a topic that you want to speak every time you're about to post something, think about topics for every month, okay? So let's say you are a company, you're a SaaS company, SaaS solution helps with employee engagement. I'm making something up. So your topic in May might be 10 ways to increase employee engagement. Why employees are not loyal to their companies anymore. Your topic in July is best technology for employees. So for each month, you have one specific topic. What you then do is use that same message and so you can just create a short post, a long post, an article, image. So you're thinking, what am I going to talk about it today? You have that theme for the month. The truth is, on LinkedIn post, only 20% of your network is going to see that post. So it's not like you're going to have the same people seeing your post every day. It's hit and miss depending on the algorithm. So only 20 people, 20% of people. Once you start getting that percentage starts to reach second and third connections as well. So think not from a previous post or a to come, think about it as silo posts. The same thing and just describe it in different ways through the different content formats. On my I explain best LinkedIn formats to use, why should you use long posts, formats coming up. There's a lot. So I can't share everything today, but if you're interested, let me know and I can the right format to use or what. Let me give you some examples. You know, a lot of time writing a very long article on LinkedIn to share, and they spend a lot of time and a lot of engagement. Yeah, no, this article is great. I think it's great. My colleagues think this is great, but we're not getting any engagement. The truth is, to create very long pieces of content. This is not Medium. This is not site. This is, a social media platform. So in fact, short posts, short format works best. Very long form. This is an example. Alex Denson, I work with him in London. He's the VC for Saatchi and Saatchi. He heads up the VC for Saatchi and Saatchi. And he just posted this. This is last year when WeWork was going for a tough time and with a bit of a mess. Even pasted this quote from Hipster Trader. Well, at an empty WeWork offices. Comments and a lot of likes, a lot of engagement, but just a quote. Why? Because he knows all startups and they would relate to this quote. So you don't need to spend a lot of time creating and thinking about content and creating long articles. About audience might find relevant. Short posts to communicate. Short posts are great to create, especially if it's a question. So you've got a lot of people commenting back, and then you can use those comments to create another post. So I absolutely love. This is an example of a long post. Ash, he actually attended one of my workshops, and he posted this the next day. 1,000 views. 763 likes and 215 comments, and went viral. A couple of things here. First thing, he starts with a very guys about starting a post, but he was also very personal. I asked my 12-year-old daughter about it, so he talks about it, what the message. The education system, but it was very personal. Being authentic, being human, pretty sharing another marketing copy. People are talk about what you want to talk about. Talk about your SaaS platform, but talk about your own experience. Is it interesting for your customers? What is a story that you can share? It just makes it more human, more authentic. They know it's content they can't find anywhere else because it's coming from you. Oh, poor Shay, I got a print screen of her, which doesn't really look really flattering. This is fantastic. And what I would, and on the top of your banner, always putting, always including that video doesn't work, or why is future, whatever it might be, everything about the future, which I think of anything else right now, but you know, use banners when doing video. And that now, one of my top tips on LinkedIn, focus on the first 2 sentences. Why? If you go to your page on LinkedIn, let me just remove my messages here. If you go to your home page on LinkedIn, I'm assuming is that you'll see that you start scrolling, and for instance, let's see this chap here, Ron. You can see 210 LinkedIn profile, someone's post. So what you characters, because that's when people are going to click see more and read your post. If your first 210 characters is boring or catching it, what value that person is going to get from reading it, it's not going to be read. It's just going to become noise, and you're not going to get the visibility that you want. This is a really good example because Asus is it's been a dream, so you know he's going to tell a story about him because he's probably just leaving, so he's a really catchy story. I'm going to share with you now some examples on how you can start your post, okay? So you've got your topics for each month. You have your different formats, posts, articles that you can use in LinkedIn. You're going to start writing a post. How can you start? There are 10 different ways that you can do that. There are many different ways that I'm sharing with you here in my top 5. So let's take the example of employee platforms this morning for some reason. So start a post, for instance, by struggling to think of new ways to engage with them. So say your post is about employee engagement. The second way that you a post is by using this hook, a controversial topic. So why I think I'm better than Elon Musk, very controversial. Will I get engagement? Yes, probably not that great, not positive engagement, but I'll get engagement. Or you can use this other hook using data. So say something like, and this is hypothetical, by the way, I've completely made this up. 70% of employees feel more productive working from home. Data. Or you can start your post by sharing lessons learned. And this is actually one of my favorite ways to start a post. Because again, as you saw in the post from Ash Ali, people really value things that you've learned. You know they can't find that anywhere else. So on your post, as you know, our team for my 10 years, this is what, and you'll get so much that way. Or finally, my last hook is using ego bait. What by I have a lot of followers on writing. So it's great because you tag them because your post. The algorithm, of course, understand that people tag anyone on your post. You're connected to them first. The algorithm is going to consider you as a spammer and is going to penalize your post. But if you're connected, even with colleagues, by the way, you need to be connected with your colleagues if you're going to tag. If you're connected with them, listen, Richard Branson, I'm going to tag you on this post. Is that okay? like a post, oh my God, you're the on your favor, and you're going to get as well. That becomes really, really effective. And so the first hack, and that's what I mean about hacks, is don't share external link on your post. Really value native content. What do I mean by native content? It's uploaded from within the platform. For that, it's simple. LinkedIn wants you to spend as much, because that's how they're going to make their money, because that's how you're going to click on their ads. You are creating a post, you're really biting yourself, but I really want to share that blog that we posted on our website. Don't do it. Much. That blog, content on the blog, and create an article instead of sharing a link. Or is link, for instance, you're hosting an event, you have an event page somewhere, you really want to share the link to the event. What you can do, something, in fact, I'm just going to, no, I'm just going to, because I don't think I can actually show the example, but, and then wait for about an hour or two until the post generates a lot of engagement, then you click edit, and then you paste the link. Because that way the algorithm is hacked, because they already started to push the post for you. You started to getting the momentum is already heading for the link, so people will still have the link to interact with it afterwards. What I've been doing to hack the algorithm when it comes to sharing outside links. So 90 minutes you share a post. That's when the algorithm is going to make a conclusion to whether that's an interest network. When I work with clients, I say create a Slack page, create a LinkedIn group where when you post something, you can share it to your colleagues and all your colleagues interact with it straight away. I promise. Because the algorithm will say, oh, this post is getting a lot of engagement. It's more than that 20% of people that I've mentioned there. And so let's start sharing it to second and third connections as well. So, have a little group of people that, and maybe they'll do the same with you, and just minute. So about tagging people, and tag more than 3 people, try to avoid that. But if you do, make sure and that they are expected that you want to post it so they can engage with it. That's something algorithm will love, if people you tag. And use 3 hashtags. Where you're hashtag Friday, having fun, hashtag weekend. No, that doesn't work on LinkedIn. To expect from you is people like interacting with clean posts, and use your hashtags at the end, and use 3. But one tip though, not as sophisticated as other platforms. So before you hashtag anything, have a look at how many followers that hashtag has, just to make sure that you're using a hashtag. Use spacing. Don't use chunky paragraphs. It's not really easy to read. Use a lot of space, 1 paragraph at a time. Here, well, actually, this is not a good example because it was quite chunky on out. Use one-liners. Try to use spaces. Writing on LinkedIn, it just makes it easier to read. Very big chunky paragraphs do not, it's not as easy as it's just to read on LinkedIn as proper spacing. The best time to post markets, and I get this question a lot. So if you're looking to attract customers, for instance, in the US, Canada, or even Latin America, is that it's Tuesday and Wednesdays in their mornings. Okay. Different markets are different, and so on, and so in. But if you're looking at that side of the world, there's major depends on the market. I know, for instance, Singapore, for some reason, Sundays work really well. So you might want to test in your own market here. But if you're looking at US and EMEA, those are the best times. Sorry, can I hear
Juliana,
my
there's a
comment?
question from the audience. If you don't...
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
There's a question from the audience. If you don't add the link for an event to your post for the first hour or so, won't you get a lot of questions or lose attendees because they can't find the link?
That's a good question. What you need to do is just create a post where you talk about the event without directing them to a link. So you create a and you have your image of your banner, right? So I actually did this on my link. I'm really excited about the SaaS. This is what we're going to talk. I've uploaded of the banner for this event. Saying, please register, please follow this link. Share that post with your people you know, get them to engage, and then you click to register, please click here. So people are not like, where's the link? You said not referring to a link just yet at that. You then add it and then include the link. And the is that, and that people that already know about, the people who know that you're sharing it with, potential customers will be, when you're expanding, you'll use an engagement. So that's what I do. I know it doesn't feel comfortable, and I know it's annoying to have to do that, but I promise you, if you include the link, the chance just decreases so much more. I hope that helps.
We have one more question from the audience, Juliana. Is it bad for the algorithm if you just post the link in the first comment?
So a lot of people used to do that. That's the issue is everyone started to do it. So this year, I was doing that all the time last year, posting on the first link to comment, but the algorithm is picking up on that now. That's why you need to do the edit hack, which I've explained. Okay. Any other questions, or should I carry on? But please keep coming. I
think you can keep going. I'll let you know if there's any more questions.
Okay, brilliant. Let me just check how I'm doing on time. Ooh, I'm really done. Guys, really quickly, just a few more minutes. Jonathan, is that okay? I just want to talk about lead generation.
That's fine so far. I don't think we have our next speaker with us just yet, so go ahead.
Okay, brilliant. So sending a message on LinkedIn. So lead generation is, I'm sure like you and me, we get a red wanting to approach you. And a lot of them are very salesy and work. This is what I mean about sales message. All about you. Hi, my name is Juliana. So that I am selling this. I do that when you're focusing only on you. So hi, I'm a SaaS solutions for employees. E-commerce solution for employees doesn't make sense, but you're focusing on yourself. That doesn't work. When you go one message and you're only talking about you, I'm sorry, you're in the right direction. Redo your messages. That's not going to work for you. What you should. Why? Because on LinkedIn, you can learn so much about the person you're targeting. On their profile, they will give you what they do in their roles, what they want to achieve within their role, and dislikes are for the groups that they're following, content that they're sharing. There's too much information for you to be vague. It's top. I saw this on your LinkedIn. I saw that you just started as a new role for Nestlé. I wanted to get in touch with you because on your profile, you mentioned that you're looking at new technologies to look at new ways to sell your products online. I have something that I think might be of interest, would be great to connect. So you're reading their profile, referring that, have had a look. I'm not just a bot that doesn't care and just spamming everyone on LinkedIn. I actually know I have some they have on their LinkedIn
Talk about the similar companies that you've helped
and why is it similar? Talk
to them.
So
Conversation. Really cool tech
that I use. One thing that
affecting people online
is that like that understanding
how the person wants to engage with you.
So there's this really
Crystal knows.
okay.
I don't know how many
You've heard of it. But basically, what it does.
This is Josh.
I worked with him a lot.
If
you use this plugin and it
will give me really quickly
the personality of Josh.
Like if I want to
give him a sales pitch or negotiate
anything that I want to do
with Josh, it will give me tips.
When selling to Josh,
Make sure you include visuals when possible. Show
photos, videos,
and everything that he
goes ahead and says. Literally, he actually is
informal.
There's nuggets that you normally
get when you meet someone face to face. This AI tool, which freaks me out, I don't know how they find out everything about you, and
it's pretty crazy
how much they know you. It will tell you how to do that. So before you message someone on LinkedIn, you can use
even more than just what is written
on their website, understand what they want to be approached. This is really cool.
So how do you find?
So
I use Sales Navigator.
I don't know how many of you do. It's not the cheapest, but it's my favorite sales tool out there. And I've come from a background of sales, and I've used a lot of sales tools. And the best tool to find leads. And I'm going to show you just really quickly. And Jonathan, tell me when I need to shut up. I can go on about this. This is really, really cool. So this is, I've been using quite a few different examples here.
I'm going to share with you
some of my favorites that I've been using on a post.
Why?
So one of the things that
unfortunately,
because so many companies are going through a hard time post-COVID,
we want to target
people that have money.
And the truth is,
we want people that have money, that have budget, that they have time to spend in new technologies, so on and so forth.
Normally start
my search for new accounts.
This is
very easy. The user experience on LinkedIn Sales Navigator is
to find companies.
Okay, so
industry, etc.,
etc. But one filter that I'm using,
because this is telling
me what companies are growing right now, and I
33%, I know my first grade,
but it will just tell me what companies are going for massive growth right now. And you can even look at revenues.
Large enterprises or medium-sized
companies. You can say something, okay, $500 million minimum and $1 billion on max
of the revenue.
So this is what I'm getting. So
62 companies around the world with this type of revenue and growing 33%.
So of course, if you want to be more specific about about geography, you can as well. So say you want to, get in touch with people in the United States, so that
will have
that type of budget. This is just something I'm using at the moment because of the pandemic, and it's been working really well.
So they have XYZ cloud
solution
to buy our platform.
Then you can also chat
to let LinkedIn know
what technologies they are using. So this is also really cool. I've been using this for some of my SaaS clients, and we've been finding that they would have to qualify so much more if they weren't using LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Again, this is just a quick few things.
I'll let you guys in your own time.
There's a 30-day trial before, and just play with the different filters. So this is what
there was an account filters here. Now when you're looking for leads.
So I love using the lead search and Sales Navigator. What I use here. You can use industry, what's your relationship with them, the geography, what school they went to. So this is one thing that I've used. Say you went to a
Korea, and
you want
potential customers.
that,
And this is quite cool because you have
come around, say, oh,
also went to
one
very fair
spot.
path. It just gets you that relationship going a bit more salesy.
Hi, Jonathan.
Can you hear my
Yes, we are ready to go ahead and
Stop.
can you
Okay.
hear me? We're ready to go to our next speaker. So you can go ahead and wrap up now.
Okay, sure. Sounds good.
Just one thing that I'm going to say, what you can do on LinkedIn is track people that just recently become a member.
Because
When people just find a platform, it means that they haven't been pitched as much as yet to you.
my final pitch. Guys, there's so much more here.
To share with you. This was just a little flavor. I can
More than happy to answer questions.
get in touch with me and have a lot of training around LinkedIn.
Thank you so much.
That's it.
Guys,
Getting to the
Right.
mission.
So Juliana, while you're still here, there are a few questions in the chat, but you can go ahead and answer those, I guess, by chat. Let's see, we had questions from Iker and also from Thomas. So you can probably see those in the chat panel. The chat.
Sure.
Yeah, the chat panel, and
Yeah.
we'll go ahead and go that way.
Sure, absolutely. Or connect with me
All
and
right.
I can also
Thanks
answer
again.
that afterwards. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Yep. Great. Thanks, Juliana. All right, guys. Ready to introduce our next speaker, Mark. Mark, I'm going to go ahead and give you access to the screen. All right, here we go. So Mark, you should be getting a notification to turn your screen on. Just let me know. Okay, guys, just wait 1 second while we get Mark on stage. All right, Mark, if you can hear me, you just need to enable the video and audio. So while we're waiting for that, guys, hope you guys enjoyed Juliana's talk. I always think it's super, super useful. I've heard her speak once before, and I knew that people in Korea really need to hear this kind of stuff about LinkedIn and how powerful LinkedIn really is. And actually, interestingly, Mark is also a kind of a power LinkedIn user. So I recommend following both of them on LinkedIn. You can find them by just searching their name, Juliana Camargo and Mark Birch. Just put their names into LinkedIn, follow them, see the kind of stuff they're posting, because they are both great, LinkedIn users here. So, all right, we're just waiting on a few seconds for Mark to get situated. All right, looks like he's coming on.
All right.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, Mark. So for everyone who doesn't know, Mark is in New York, and what time is it right now?
It's pretty darn early.
Yeah. So we're really thankful for Mark joining. It's around 5 a.m. or something like that. I'm not even sure, 5 or 6 a.m. So he usually probably doesn't get up this early to speak. So everyone just give a round of applause to Mark for making it. For me, it's it's evening. For Juliana, it's almost lunchtime, but quite difficult to get up this early. So I appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and give you the stage. So go ahead and do your thing. And for people who don't know, Mark, US, he's in charge of the APAC region, dealing with startups and the SaaS Factory, which you can explain more about. I'm going to go ahead and get off screen and let you take it from here. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. Really appreciate having the opportunity to be here today. And what I thought would be kind of useful is to provide a bit of perspective on what it is at AWS that enables the startups I work with and that we work with to be able to build, grow, and scale faster than they would normally. And so what I'm going to do just over the next 15 minutes or so is go over some things that we do from our perspective that's been super helpful for those companies, those founders that are just getting up and going with their SaaS companies to be able to accelerate. So let me just move a few things on my end here, and I will share a screen momentarily. And hopefully everyone is enjoying the session so far. I know it's been some really cool stuff that Julian has been sharing about what is that in terms of LinkedIn. I've been using LinkedIn quite a bit from my own perspective over the years. So let me share my screen now. Got it.
Just getting ready. I'm just noticing Mark has 19,000 followers on LinkedIn, so he's doing something right.
Or something completely wrong. So we'll see what that's about. But if you do want to connect, just send me a short note that you saw me here at this at the SaaStock Local Seoul, and would be glad to connect and chat further. But now that we have the screen up, hopefully you can see why SaaS startups love AWS. And there's a whole lot of reasons why, when it comes to AWS, that startups have been able to build, grow, and scale faster. So I think the first thing to realize is that as you're creating, as you're building, it's a situation where you don't have a whole lot of capital, you're probably bootstrapping, and you still need to be able to build your minimum viable product and get out to market really quickly. So the less you can have to focus on in terms of costs and trying to plan ahead, the better off you're going to be. And that's really been the innovation that AWS has been able to provide for the startup community and for SaaS startups from the very get-go. It's not pay everything up front and then hopefully you live long enough to be able to survive and to be able to grow and get customers. It's a pay-as-you-go model, which has been, just as SaaS as a model has been revolutionary in terms of thinking about the economics of how customers buy and consume their software. Cloud computing, and specifically how we thought about it from the AWS perspective, has been revolutionary for those folks that are on the ground building to be able to do so faster and to not be so burdened or so concerned about the cost, because you're only buying what you need at the time you need it. And if you need to scale, you can bring on those resources as that need comes about. And so this has enabled startups to experience not only explosive growth, but the growth of startup communities and ecosystems all over the globe. Because there's none of the upfront costs, there's none of the things that require that upfront commitment. So you're able to launch faster, you're able to run more experiments to get the product market fit faster. And you can focus on delivering value instead of all the undifferentiated heavy lifting of trying to get a service, to get an idea, to get your product online faster. And I remember just my own startup experience. from 3 different perspectives back in the late 90s. I remember friends of mine that they would secure their first round of institutional funding. And right off the bat, it would be at least $5 million. Why? Because it took $5 million just to be able to acquire all the compute up front to just to build, just to get started. When I launched my own tech startup back in the late 2000s, it was a bit of a different story, but it was still a lot of stuff that you'd have to build on your own in order to get started. But the costs had gone down dramatically. And now you think about today, it's a very different universe. And in fact, quite often, a lot of founders I work with at the very early stages are using things like the AWS free tier to be able to build quite a bit of their idea up front without having to pay for anything or to worry about all the costs of scaling or procuring compute. And one of the things that's been helpful to in terms of being able to support a lot of the effort from the startup perspective is the ecosystem that we've built. And when we think about that ecosystem, I work part and part with my colleagues over in the business development team, who are able to align with founders, investors, the incubators, accelerators, to provide this ecosystem that is helping startup founders right now. And like myself and the business development team, we all come from that universe. We all were former founders or investors that understand the ecosystem. And so those are the people that are on the ground that are helping. And this has been enormously beneficial for our founders and for startups because we are able to foster a lot of the relationships with many of the top VCs, the top accelerators, and we work with them and their cohorts to help them accelerate faster. But as I'll talk about later, we also have programs to do introductions. So sometimes startups wonder, like, oh, so do you have your own accelerator or incubator? Like, how does that all work? And for SaaS startups and startups in general, like, we don't necessarily invest directly, but we do invest through AWS credits that I'm sure some of you are pretty familiar with. We invest our time, our knowledge. You know, a good example of that are the sessions that I've been running on Clubhouse, for example, the social audio app that's been taking the world by storm. And it's been amazing to see the reception of folks that get onto those shows, who ask their questions, and we have a whole bunch of experts that are dedicating their time to helping many of those founders with those questions that they have on the show. And one of the more popular segments that we've had on the AWS Startups Clubhouse show has been our SaaS events. We have SaaS weeks where we focus on founders. We have events where we focus on VCs as well. And it's been a great way of being able to convey a lot of valuable information for folks that are just starting on their journey. And it's not only about the technology. I think a lot of people get focused on, oh, well, AWS is my cloud infrastructure. I just use them for their services, for like EC2, for our instances, or S3 for storage, or maybe we're building out our mobile apps on Amplify. And so we can get caught up on the services and technology, and we do a lot there. We've been able to develop so many different services, all geared for helping startups to build out their architectures and to scale. But we also help our startup and our co-founders on the go-to-market side. So helping them think about marketing, funding, sales distribution, introductions to capital. And so I'm going to talk about some of those programs as we go along here. And just to give you the extent or the breadth of what we do from a AWS perspective for startups specifically, there's a number of different programs. I actually didn't have enough space to put all of the different things that we do, but this is kind of the overall bucket of things that are going to be most applicable for most of you listening in today from a SaaS perspective to be able to dive in and hopefully be able to leverage some of these programs that I listed here to help you to grow and accelerate faster. So I think the very first program is AWS Activate. Now, if you are familiar at all with anything that AWS has done in the startup world, you've almost definitely run across AWS Activate, because this is, for the perspective of most people that are introduced to this program, it's all about the credits. And there are quite a bit of credits. In fact, I've been a customer of AWS Activate in some of my own side projects. And so I've actually benefited myself from using these programs for some of the startups that I've been working on, or at least the idea stages. And so if you're unbacked, you don't have any funding, but you have a URL, you have a business entity, you can right off the bat get $1,000 worth of credits. That's amazing to think about. You don't have anything set up, but automatically $1,000 in free credits, and that will get you pretty far in conjunction with the AWS free tier to be able to build a lot of significant infrastructure. Just as a quick aside, one of my current side projects right now is a thing called LinkedIn hashtags. Now, it's a very simple tool just to help people that are posting on LinkedIn, just like in our previous conversation and presenter. Well, because I do a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, one of the questions I always had from my own perspective was, hey, how can I optimize the use of hashtags? Well, LinkedIn hashtags, you can go to linkedinhashtags.com, is a way of just very quickly adding the types of hashtags to your posts that have lots of followers. And why is that important? Well, if you use those hashtags, you're going to be able to get in front of and be able to get your posts out to people that follow those tags and hopefully get more engagement and awareness of your posts. So we've been using the Activate program to be able to fund the very beginnings of that creation process without having to pay a dime. So it's an amazing program. And as you grow and as you start to bring on institutional funding, say you get your first VC round, well, there's a whole lot more credits that we have, up to $100,000 worth of credits that are available to founders right off the bat. But AWS Activate isn't just about the credits, it's also an ecosystem. So if you go to the AWS Activate console, so in your normal AWS console where you see all the different services that are available, you'll see Activate console. And there you're going to get access to support, training resources, and also a ton of content specifically geared for startups at different stages of their growth. And so if you go to AWS at amazon.com/activate, you'll be able to learn more about the programs. And if you haven't signed up yet, definitely sign up now. Another program we have in conjunction with Activate, which also can provide credits, is for startups that are thinking about different migrating from different cloud providers or different platforms onto AWS. So we also help founders to be able to migrate their apps over to AWS, and again, do so without incurring any costs on their end. Just being able to bring them over to AWS to be able to smooth out some of the differences and to get them up and running quickly. Now, a lot of questions come up in terms of, are we building things correctly? And it's a very fair question because there are a lot of different services that AWS offers. This is why we offer what we call the well-architected review. So for completely free, you can have AWS experts, solution architects, take a look at what you've been building and to see if you can optimize some way. Sometimes it could be from a cost perspective, helping to minimize the way you think about your costs. A good way of thinking about that is oftentimes founders, when you're building, you're going to build kind of a monolith of an architecture. You're just going to write a whole bunch of code and to push it up there into the cloud and hopefully get users. Well, You might start to think about, well, gee, if I'm building a SaaS startup, maybe I want to build in a multi-tenant fashion. How do I do that? Well, we have SaaS experts from the technology side that can look at your architecture and recommend, oh, this is how you would build for a multi-tenant architecture to support your SaaS customers. Or maybe from the cost perspective. So maybe you built a whole bunch of code and it's just always sitting there and always available to run, but it may not be a service which you need to have running all the time. So maybe you need to shift all that code to serverless. So that's another way of thinking about cost saving and optimizing what you do. And so there's a whole bunch of services around what well-architected reviews provide that will maybe enable you to be able to build faster, to spend less, and to be able to deliver functionality to your customers much faster. We do a lot of mentorship. I do my mentorship for startups through the Startup Grind program. So if you're familiar with Startup Grind, that's something that I've been involved with for quite some time. But there's many other ways that we provide mentorship through various programs, through other types of communities that we're engaged with. So definitely be on the lookout for opportunities where we have mentorship sessions. And if you do follow me on LinkedIn, I generally share those out. So you'll get announcements or alerts to when we're going to have more mentorship sessions. Before I mention, even though we don't provide capital, there are ways that we are able to help our startup customers to get connected to either capital or get connected to companies that are looking for solutions. So if you think about AWS, we've been at this for quite some time, since 2006, helping out founders to build, grow, and scale faster. Well, we also have a lot of big companies that are using the cloud today. And sometimes they come to us and say, hey, you work with startups, right? Well, we're looking for some solutions and we really need some expertise here. And so what we'll do is we have Enterprise Connect, a connections program, which will facilitate those connections between enterprises and startup founders to help fill a need for some of those enterprises. And we've done quite a few of those introductions over the past couple of years to good effect. And we do the same thing, but connecting VCs, investors, with startups as well, to be able to have some very valuable introductions, which will, knock on wood, hopefully lead to funding. Now, things that get more specifically into the SaaS world, we do a lot of work with independent software vendors, or ISVs. And so if you are building a software platform, a SaaS platform, this is a program, once you get a bit of momentum going and you're able to scale a bit and you're past that product market fit, the APN Starter Program is a way of not only getting technical validation, but also getting support from a go-to-market perspective and helping you from a sales perspective. So there's a lot there in the APN program that I can't go into today just because of time. But hopefully, if you're interested, if you are an independent software vendor, definitely reach out and we can start to plug you into that program and all the benefits that come through it. And one of those benefits is this program called SaaS Factory. So an incredible program that's specifically geared for SaaS companies to help them get up and running very quickly. And it's a combination of technology validation. It's a combination of thinking about their go-to-market strategies, but as well as thinking about specific programs around co-selling that can help these SaaS startups get out the door faster with customers and with a marketing presence. And part of that marketing presence comes in the place of AWS Marketplace. So this provides visibility to all of our customers to enable you to have your solution available in the marketplace for any of those customers around the world to be able to leverage. And so it's a very easy model for customers that are in the process of building and trying things to be able to try your product right from the marketplace and build that into their architecture and their infrastructure. Now, there are some programs or some products that this may not necessarily be fully in the SaaS world, but if there's an aspect of your product which it's a bit of more of a physical product, we also have Launchpad, which is another way of elevating companies that we work with, our customers, to a wider audience. And so Launchpad provides support for companies that have some sort of physical goods component to their solution to be able to get that out to market faster. And for those companies where conversational AI is a component of their solution, we also have the Alexa Fund. So I said before, we don't really invest in companies. Well, this is from the Amazon perspective and all the things that we're doing with Alexa. And we felt that it was important to, at least from this perspective, to provide a platform and to provide an extra bit of help for startups that are working on solutions that could be built onto Alexa and to be able to support conversational AI. And so if that is a component of your solution, definitely check out the Alexa Fund. And so with that, that was a very quick whirlwind tour of all the different things that we help from a SaaS startup perspective to help our founders, to help our customers to be able to do things much faster and hopefully do so in a way that is that gets them out there quicker with customers and to be able to drive real valuable outcomes. So if there's any questions, would certainly love to be able to answer those now. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jonathan, again, for giving me the time to share a little bit.
That was great, Mark. Thanks a lot for super insightful things that I never even heard about, and hopefully other people learn something new as well. I had no idea there were that many programs that AWS offers, and so if there are any questions, guys, you can just write them here in the comments, or we can just move straight to the networking session, because let me explain what this is. I'm going to drop a link in the chat room. We're going to go to a new site. I know that we might lose a couple people because of that, but it's really cool. We're going to have some group settings, some group games, and some one-on-one games. It's not, cheesy or anything like that. It's just a cool way to meet people. I've never tried it before, and I want to try it, so I really want to see what that's like. There is one question, though, before we go from Iker. Where can we check all of the programs and take a closer look at them?
Probably the best way is just reach out directly. I know I breeze
just send him a message.
a whole lot. And I do want to be respectful. It did sound like it was a big AWS advertisement. That's not really what it's meant to be at all. But there are a lot of ways that people that are in AWS just don't know about or can't navigate. So if you reach out to me directly, you'll be able to. I'd be happy to give you a bit more insight and depth into what we do from a program perspective. And you can also go to AWS Startups. So just type on AWS Startups. You'll go directly to the Startups page where a lot of these programs are listed.
All right. Well, thanks again to Mark. And once again, thanks to Juliana. For the people who are going to be joining networking, I just put the link right there. Click on the link, write your name, and we're going to have some fun. All right. So thanks again for everyone who attended today. We're going to do another one in a couple months. So sign up on SaaStock to join this club, and you'll be informed of the next events. All right, guys, that's it for me. See you at the networking party. Again, there's the link. See you soon.